Hello and welcome to my couch. I'm Julian Greystoke and today we're going to talk about what the heck do I do if I don't outline? Are you a writer? Have you been tapping away at your book for a while now and then you find your way to YouTube and find this wonderful world called authortube and discover that you've been writing all wrong this whole time? What is wrong with you? That's an experience that I recently heard one of my viewers had. And it's because authortube, while a wonderful resource, is primarily populated with plotters. And those of us who don't plot our books are often left feeling pretty left out and like we're freaks and we're doing it wrong. Now, I have talked about my process a few times on this channel, but I've never specifically sat down and talked to people about being a pantser, I don't think. And if I have, it's been a minute. I want to talk to those authors who are finding their way onto authortube and are also finding themselves frustrated and possibly becoming alarmed when they find that nobody seems to write the way that they do. But let's talk about sort of the different types and styles of getting your words on the page. Because getting the words on the page is the main point. Like, that is the ultimate goal here. As you have no doubt surmised from watching authortube, many people here are plotters or planners. Wow, I just attempted just now to find out other names for plotters and pantsers, what we're going to be talking about, and instead I found a blog about how to transform yourself from a pantser into a plotter, and again, that's what we're here to talk about, this feeling that you have to transform your writing style, and you don't. So let's just talk about plotters and pantsers. I know there are other names for it. Please comment yours below. Some people absolutely hate the term pantser because it sounds very silly, but what it actually just means is that you write by the seat of your pants. I sometimes call it feral writing because sometimes my books are a bit feral, and we'll talk about one of those in a minute. But the big difference is that plotters plan everything out beforehand and pantsers do it as we write the book, with or without any kind of plan in mind. Now, usually when I write, I do have some kind of roadmap, but it's all in my head. I don't do any complicated writing things down, figuring out beats. I don't do character bios or any of that stuff beforehand. I just usually have a loose idea of where we're going to start, where we're going to end, and some key elements in the middle. And because I've been writing for a very long time, I've gotten a really good handle on knowing how much information I need to have brainstormed before I can just start writing. And that's how I know when to not bother starting to write a story idea versus starting to write it. Practice. Because when you're a pantser, you don't often have that lengthy beforehand kind of situation. It's easier, I feel, to dive into a story head first and then realize not too far in that you're just not really into it. So you do have to master this feel for your own style, knowing when it's okay to get started just writing your story. Stories that are pantsed do tend to be more character-driven, because we rely on our characters to guide us through the story. Often we are going on an adventure with them, and it's as much a surprise to us as it is to them. Another disadvantage that you sometimes see in plotters versus pantsers, at least I've heard, pantsers have to do more editing on the back end because they don't plot more beforehand. I can't say if that's true of me because I have never plotted, and that's because I have absolutely never felt the desire to plot. Now, some people might demand, and maybe some people in the comments even will, demand that I should try plotting because maybe it will work better. But you know what? I have written so many books, and they were all pantsed. I think that method works for me. And if you're sitting out there going, maybe I should switch to plotting, but the very idea makes you feel like you want to take a drill to your own brain, you're probably a pantser. If you want to try plotting and you find out that it works for you, that's awesome. Like, you're still getting books written. It doesn't matter how you do it. But I am here for those people who are frustrated because pantsing is how we do it, and you keep being told that you have to try plotting, that you're just never going to get it done unless you plot. It's not true. Now, pantsing for everybody can look a little bit different, and there are some people who don't know anything about the book going in. I'm not one of those people. As I mentioned, I have to know a few things going into the story. I just don't write any of them down or do any of that stuff. I have also gotten a sort of feel, again, through practice, for pacing and plot and storytelling and arcs just sort of naturally. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, of course, but nobody is. Even plotters aren't perfect at it. But it is something that you do have to learn and practice, and that could be another potential challenge of being a pantser, is that you have to get a lot more instinctual feel for how your story needs to flow as you're writing it versus planning out that flow beforehand. It's like juggling. Are you the sort of person who picks out carefully the items you're going to juggle, plans how your juggling routine is going to go, and flawlessly pulls it off? Or are you somebody who's just really good at juggling and you just have a feeling that some swords need to be incorporated into this juggling act right now, and there we go. And the swords one. So let's talk about one of my stories that I call Feral. Usually, as I mentioned, I have some kind of plan going into a story, but a while ago I started writing a little horror story called Second Floor, which I really had no idea how it was going to go. I had a vague idea of the main character, and that's it. I just started writing him, and before I knew it, he was moving into an apartment building and something evil was starting to happen. And I did not know how exactly it was going to end until I got there. And that's why I call Second Floor, which you can read for free on Wattpad right now, a feral book. What were the results of my writing a feral book? Well, as you will be able to see if you go over and check out Second Floor, it is in its sort of first draft stage. And so there are a few things that I will probably someday go back and fix. While it is a coherent story with a beginning, middle, and plenty of enjoyable characters, there are a few moments where I could have perhaps done foreshadowing better, or things that are brought up in the beginning of the book that don't actually completely come to fruition at the end of the book. Now, I am very good at instinctively foreshadowing. Again, practice. Where I put things in the front of the book and then I'm writing along later and I'm like, there's the use for that thing I knew that I had to have in the beginning of the book, but I didn't know why back then. But now I know there's the use for it. And that does happen in Second Floor, but because this book is so feral, there are some things that just weren't utilized as well as they could be, and I would go back in and definitely tweak in the editing process. But if you are interested to see what a completely feral book looks like, go check out Second Floor. If I had plotted Second Floor, yeah, there would probably be a few less of those random loose ends, but I also would not have had nearly as much fun with it as I did. And I should mention that Second Floor is the most popular of my writing on Wattpad by a huge margin, so it can't be completely terrible. And that's really all I have to say about it. I just wanted to make a video that was able to make it very clear that you can be a successful author who finishes books even if you don't plot. Plotting is not the only way to write, and it can be very frustrating when you're wandering around seeing all of this writing advice that just doesn't apply to you because you don't write that way. A very important thing to remember as you're traveling the world of authortube is that no one there, myself included, is a god of writing. None of us are perfect at writing. There is no author on the planet who is perfect at writing, because writing is art, and it's a little bit different for everybody. And Kinshu is here, and she agrees. So if you're ever watching a writing video and you're sitting there going, how am I supposed to incorporate that into my style? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's just not for you. Listening to advice is definitely important and helpful, but also remembering that whoever you're listening to, even though they may sound very professional, is not a complete expert, because a complete expert in writing probably doesn't exist. Even the best, most successful writers in the world have plenty of flaws in their writing and things they aren't good at. And also plenty of great successful writers are pantsers. like Stephen King. So there you go. That was, she keeps licking me every time I raise my arm. There you go. That was my talk about plotting and pantsing, and what do I do if I don't plot my book? Well, there's nothing wrong with you. You can try plotting if you want, but if it doesn't suit you or you don't think it's going to be your thing, you don't have to do it. Nobody can make you. Don't let anybody tell you different. I'll fight them. I will fight them for you. Don't think I won't. They can catch these hands. Kinshi will help. She's very pointy. There you go, guys. Was this video helpful to any of you? I hope it was. I hope it made some of you feel better about your writing styles. If you like videos about writing and bookish things, plus other random nerdy stuff, this is the channel for you. There's a lot of content here, so feel free to browse. And if you must have brand new videos, only the freshest videos will do, why then I put out new videos Mondays and Fridays. Or you can hop on over to my Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month you can get access to exclusive videos not seen here on the regular channel. Plus, you can follow me on all my social media, links in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking. And I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching that video, but before you go, I need to introduce you to some really important people. Those people are Callison, Ray, Artemis, Shelby, Zaire, Adrienne, Jesper, Ryakio, Irene, Sabby Panda, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, and Lisa. And you want to know why those people are so awesome? Because they are my patrons, and that means they're the best people in the whole world. Who cares if you disagree? You are not me. Who made you king of anything? So you dare tell me who to be? Who died and made you king of anything?